when anyone speaks of poignant things, they're the personal relationships that determine this thing. And General MacArthur told us of his feelings when he came back to Manila, and how torn he was by seeing the city he loved in ashes as it was. And then he told about his determination to go on and see to it that justice would be achieved. And he said that he knew that the greatest thing in life would be to restore Manila and to bring about the victory that was needed in the war. See, Manila had been secured, and after Manila was secured, then he said he wanted to go and secure Corregidor. That was the next step. But all these things were going to be prelude to the road to Tokyo. To him, there was only one road to Tokyo, the possible road to Tokyo through China, or the possible road to Tokyo across the Central Pacific. They just simply had to be byroads on what was the main road to Tokyo, which had to be from Manila. And after Manila, then Corregidor would be the first step on the way to Japan. And he was talking about the challenge of retaking Corregidor. And he said, Corregidor was the place where he was not only defeated, but it was the place where he had been humiliated. And he said that he wanted to avenge what had happened in the earlier days. He said he didn't know just exactly how he was going to go about retaking Corregidor, and so after Manila was secure, he flew over the island to help him in his planning. And he said they took him so high in the first airplane that he couldn't really get close enough to form any operations plans, and so he had a Piper Cub take him down low over Corregidor. And he said, I saw very clearly that how I was going to go about it. He said he saw that the Japanese had not improved the defenses of Corregidor, and the way to retake it was the way the Japanese should have taken it in the first place, and that is to drop bombs on the mouths of the tunnel, close the tunnels, and that would take away the value of the cannons that aim through the tunnels to attack the ships that would come. And so he said, this is exactly what I did. He said, I bombarded it to close the mouth of the tunnels, and then he said, I landed the paratroopers, and he said, we took the Corregidor with a loss of 101 casualties. And he says most of those casualties were broken ankles that when the paratroopers landed and had some kind of an accident landing. Very proud of the few casualties that had taken place. Then he said, then and there, I decided I wanted to see what Corregidor looked like and what I was going to have to do to make it easiest to go on Japan. And he said, I'm talking now about, say, February in 1945. And he said, my plan or my challenge is not to keep Japan down. He says, we're going to have to win a victory. He says, but then our challenge is going to help Japan up. And in the course of the conversation, I asked him when the ideas first formed in his mind that the challenge of the United States was going to be to help Japan up. And he said, it all formulated in my mind after I visited Corregidor when that battle was over. He said, I told Vern Mudge, his artillery commander, to take the machinery out and we would see what happened inside Corregidor. And we used our bulldozers and we penetrated into the mouths of those tunnels. And he said it was very eerie and we were just going through this accumulated dirt. And then he said, all of a sudden, it was like a scene from Dante's Inferno. He said, the minute we got through the mouth of the tunnel and the heat that had been generated inside that tunnel met with the oxygen from the outside air, he says the flames just leaped out, and it was hours until we could get back. Then we went back into those tunnels, and he said, I knew through my boots that it was something had taken place that I had never seen before. He said, in 50 years of campaigning, you get kind of sensitive, even in your boots. He said, and I looked around me in Corregidor, and I would see the remains of twisted metal here, twisted gun barrels there. As everywhere I looked, there was the remains, the bones, the ashes of dead Japanese. And he said, when I saw what had happened to Japanese there, he said, in 1 second, I felt the ferocious fullness of retribution, and I knew then what our national task was going to be. We've often wondered, historians since then, just when the ideas came for putting the occupation of Japan in perspective. But so far as I'm concerned, he was very clear after the retaking of Manila and putting Manila back on the American side, what the next challenge would be, in what he saw as his duty in this war in the Pacific.